going to see how we can invoke one sequence from another sequence. This is mostly used in order to modularize our project. So a sequence is nothing but we can see a sequence of activities. Let's compare it with the functions in conventional programming. We pass some of the parameters or arguments as input into the invoked sequence, and at the end we can return back the output parameters from the invoked sequence back into the sequence from which it was invoked. So let's see how this can be done in UiPath Studio. So in a project structure, we can see this is the main XML file from where the execution starts. So let us say that we will accept a name from the user, and that name we will pass into another sequence which concatenates and formats the string as hello and with the name, and add the greeting back into the main sequence, and that is displayed on the screen. So let's start. In the main XML, let us take a input dialog. So the input dialog box, we will put the dialog title as enter name, input label as name, and it will have a text box, and the value which the user enters will be stored in the variable called name. So in order to process this, we will have another sequence. So let's create another sequence from new and sequence. Let's name it as greeting message to user and create. So this is open, and then here what we'll do is we will concatenate the message hello to the username. So for that we'll use the assign activity and say create a variable greeting message, and then here it will have the name concatenated with the message hello. So we have the hello, and then we'll concatenate it to the name variable. But in order to get the name variable, we have to have the arguments. So we need an input argument, say input name. The general convention we can follow is in for input and name. It's a string type, and then we will use this over here, and then we have to output this greeting message to the main sequence. So for that, let's create another argument out and message, and this will have the greeting message. So we can also directly set this over here instead of having a new variable. Let's delete this one. So our input and output variable we have mapped. Now come back to the main. So in order to invoke this, we can use the invoke activity. So it will be a invoke workflow file, and we have to browse the file, which is nothing but greeting message to user XML file, and we have to set the import arguments over here. We can also do this by just dragging the sequence like this, and it will automatically select the workflow file name. In the import arguments, we have to open and set all the variables. So we have to pass the name variable to the input argument. So we'll assign the name over here, and the output message we will have to capture in a variable. Let's create one greeting. So a new variable got created over here. Now let's display the message from the main XML using the message box. There is one error that the direction is in, it should be out. So in order to change this, we need to go into this XML, and here in the argument section only we can change it to out. So now the direction is set to out. Let's save it, and now let's execute. We'll enter the name. This has been invoked from the main XML. Then the processing of the message happened in the invoked XML, and the message is back displayed in the main XML. So how it goes, the input dialog box is in the main XML. The whatever the name has been entered has been stored in the name variable. The name variable is passed as an input argument into this XML greeting message to user, and in this one we are processed it and the message is formed and it has been assigned back into the output parameter. Then the output parameter is captured in a greeting variable which is scope is in the main XML, and then the message is displayed using a message box. So hope this video was helpful for you. Stay tuned for more such videos. Thank you and happy learning.